Villichez. But Hervé Villichez is a little guy on Fantasy Island, and Ricardo Montalban played his boss. That's all you need to know. Hervé Villichez was a little actor, and Ricardo Montalban played his boss. So this is called Brockman Takes the Wheel. Everybody get comfortable. I hope you like it. This is from a collection of my short horror stories that will never be published because one of the stories is called The Diary of Anne Frankenstein. And I'm an ass, I know. Okay, so. Oh, two best costumes tonight. I like the guy dressed like Hunter S. Thompson, and I particularly want to thank this young lady for dressing like Mila Jovovich from The Fifth Element. For reasons I really can't go into, but I like Mila Jovovich in that film a lot. First of all, I would just like to state that it was not my idea to dig up the body of the late diminutive actor Hervé Villichez. That was Brockman's idea. I was merely being a good friend. Before you judge me, try to imagine yourself in my place. A friend kindly gives you a ride home from the airport. A few weeks later, that same friend appears on your doorstep at 2 o'clock in the morning, holding a case of beer under one arm and a shovel under the other. He asks you for your assistance in a small task. Would you say no? If being a good friend is a crime, then I stand convicted. Yes, I am well aware that grave robbery is indeed a crime, but it was never our intention to steal Mr. Villechez's body. We only wished to borrow it. Had we not been curtailed in our adventure, Mr. Villechez's body would be right back in the grave and no one would be the wiser. And there'd be no hurt feelings either. His arms? Well, yes, that was very unfortunate. But please rest assured that both Brockman and I plan to go back and look for the right arm as once there was sufficient light. I mean, how many tiny arms could there be just littering up Interstate 5? As I'm sure you're well aware, we have the left arm, and to be quite frank, how did his arms come off? Well, you see, when we tied the body to the grill of Brockman's car, okay, I can see I better back up a bit. You see, when we liberated Mr. Villichez, we discovered two things. The first was that he was stiff as a board. The second thing we discovered that was Mr. Villichez had a, how shall I put this? A very definite bouquet. This should not, by no means, be taken as a reflection upon the late Mr. Villechez's personal hygiene. I'm sure that, despite being French, he was quite fastidious in life. You see, the thing was that Brockman worked very hard for that car, and he wasn't about to risk befouling its interior, or even its trunk. And that's why we tied the body to the grill. I mean, what would you have done? Okay, I'm getting to the arms. See, Brockman tends to have a heavy foot, if you know what I mean. You don't know what I mean? Well, he tends to drive a tad too fast. Mind you, I've spoken to him about it on several occasions, and he has gotten better. Yes, the arms. Okay, we were going about 90 miles an hour down Interstate 5 when, where was I? Oh yes, down Interstate 5, that's by myself, when Hervé's arms started to move. I'm sure that you can imagine our surprise. When we tied him to the grill with jumper cables, those arms seemed like they were glued to his sides. I guess all that was needed was a little wind, and going 90 miles an hour, as I see in retrospect, will generate more than a little wind. Well, all that was needed was a little wind to snap Mr. Villechez's shoulder blades. Why didn't we pull over right away? I assure you that we would have, had not the song YMCA been playing on the radio. I am not making this up. I swear, Mr. Villechez's arms were flapping out the letters YMCA. To be honest, they only spelled out the letters Y, M, and C before the right arm tore off, smashed against the windshield, and was gone. You keep losing my place here. Fortunately, my window was rolled down, so a few seconds later, when the left arm came off, it flew in my window and landed on the back seat. Oh, I can smile about it now, but at the time, okay, I'm getting to that. Well, the arms thing put the kibosh on our original plan, which was to use Mr. Villechez's corpse to bring a little happiness and joy into the world. How? Well, we were planning on rigging him up like a ventriloquist dummy. Yeah, that explains the wires through the cheeks, and visiting children's wards at various hospitals. those kids could use a little cheering up, but once his arms were torn off, we didn't think he would be appropriate entertainment for young people. Ricardo Montalban? Yes, I feel terrible about that. That too was Brockman's idea. You see, once the plan to visit the sick children was dashed, we drove around for about an hour trying to figure out what to do with Mr. Villichez. It seemed a little too early in the adventure to return him. I was about to suggest that we stop at Denny's because they're always open, and to be quite honest, digging up a body is very hungry work. But then Brockman asked me to dig around in his glove compartment for one of those maps to movie stars' homes that he bought about a year ago. When I asked him why, he said it was a surprise. I had no idea at the time it was not me Brockman was planning on surprising. We pulled to the side of the road. Brockman studied the map for a few minutes. Then he clapped his hands and he peeled back onto the highway. About a half an hour later, I was sitting in the car when Brockman tossed Hervé's body over a high wall. Then Brockman climbed over the wall. So anyway, I'm just sitting in the car, and all of a sudden I hear a doorbell ring. And then about 30 seconds later, I hear Brockman's voice saying, "Hey boss, they're playing!" This was followed by the most horrible scream I've ever heard. Please tell Mr. Montalban that I am terribly sorry about all that. Brockman's sense of humor can time from time get a little out of hand. Well, guess there's not much more to tell. Mr. Villachez's body came back over the wall. Brockman came back over the wall. Then Brockman tied Hervé back to the grill of the car, and off we sped. We were only on the road for about 15 minutes when we saw the flashing lights of the police car in the rearview mirror. Now, I am not one to criticize the police. God knows they do a tough enough job for very little pay. However, the arresting officer asked us why we had a dead midget tied to the grill of our car. They prefer to be called little people. I, for one, find that sort of insensitivity very off-putting. Thank you. That was tonight's ghost story. Little story about body snatching.
I just have one question about that story.
Yes, it's a true story, if that's your question.
No, I believe it. But what kind of car did Mr. Brockman drive?
So Brockman has a Bitchin Camaro.